So let's start with the basics of photogrammetry. So aerial photography, obviously taking images from a higher vantage point. So that's the most common, versatile and economical form of remote sensing, right? You can obtain images from a particular distance, which you can generally call it as aerial photography, right? So previously it was film based, as we had discussed in the initial classes, and now it is digital, right? So apart from when you compare it to ground or terrestrial observations, like going to the particular site or location and observing things, this aerial photography has several advantages. So one of it is an improved vantage point, because this gives you a bigger picture rather than observing a feature at a particular location. Rather than that, an aerial photography, it will cover a larger area and it will give you a bigger picture. Another one is the capability to stop action and observe. So what do you mean by stop action is, you can stop the action view of dynamic conditions. And can you tell me a few dynamic conditions where this stop action and observe will be required? The dynamic conditions, something that is changing immediately with time. You can stop that moment, you can capture that point, and you can observe it and analyze it later. Can you tell me any example for such a dynamic condition when you're considering aerial photography? Floods is an example. Floods. Then moving wildlife is an example, right? Moving traffic is an example. Oil spills is another example. Then wildfires. All these are dynamic conditions. They all change with time, right? They keep on changing. Their position, their location, their intensity, all these characteristics will change with time. So you can stop that action, you can freeze it, you can take a photo and freeze it, and you can analyze it later, right? So you have the capability to stop action and observe. Then you have a permanent recording in your hand. You have a permanent record which can be used by anyone anytime at a later stage, right? Then you have broad spectral sensitivity, where you can observe what the eye can't see, right? You can capture images in the UV spectra, you can capture it in the near IR. These things cannot be observed by the eye, so these things, recording in the UV, near IR, thermal IR, etc., that can be done. Then increased spatial resolution and geometric fidelity. You have more spatial detail and you have a better accurate measurements. So all these are advantages over ground or terrestrial observations for aerial photography. Well, let us move to the basics of photography. So you have seen a pinhole camera and a simple lens camera probably. So if you're looking at a basic camera, the image that you see on the right side, you can see here. So you might have already been exposed to some of these particular terms: the shutter, the lens, the aperture, diaphragm, shutter speed, focus, focal length, etc. Right? So let us see what these terms mean. So the first one, you can see the bottom right image initially. You can see the diaphragm. So diaphragm is something that controls the diameter of lens opening. You can see the diaphragm there on the right side image. So that is something that controls the diameter of lens opening. Right? So if you have a larger lens opening, what will happen? So what happens when you have a larger lens opening? It will capture more light, right? So you can control how much light you want by controlling the diaphragm. Any other way to control the exposure or the light that it captures? That is by controlling your shutter speed, isn't it? Have you heard of shutter speed? So the shutter speed, so the time duration for which the camera lens is exposed, you expose and capture the light and you will close it, right? So the shutter speed controls that, so it controls the duration of exposure. Then you have the focus. You can see the focus on the left image. F, the capital letter F represents the focus, so that controls the controls focusing a camera. So what is focus? What do you mean by focus? So that focal length is the distance from the lens at which parallel light rays are focused to a point. You can see on the left image, you can see the focal length, the small letter f. So you will adjust your distance from the lens at which the parallel light rays, you can see the parallel light rays before it touches the lens, they are parallel light rays, and after that it focuses to a particular point. At the focus, it is focused at a point, so that distance from the lens at which parallel light rays are focused to a point is called the focal length. So I've kept the same image here again. So let I be the distance between the lens and the image plane. You can see I here, right? Distance between the lens and the image plane, and let O be the distance between lens and object to be photographed. So when the camera is properly focused, there is a relationship between this I, O and the focal length. So that is 1 by f is equal to 1 by I plus 1 by O. So we know that f is constant for any lens. You can see here, for any given lens, the focal length is a constant. Okay, f is constant. So as the object distance O for any scene, when the O value changes, you have to change the I value as well, right? So how can you change this value of I? You want to focus a particular object. You want to, when you change the distance between the lens and the object to be photographed, when you change the O, as the focus is fixed, focal length is fixed, you will have to adjust the I, right, distance between the lens and the image plane. How do you do that? When you focus on different objects at different distances, how will you adjust this distance between the lens and the image plane? You will adjust that, no? How do you do that? By moving the lens, right? You can move the camera lens with respect to the image plane. You use different types of lenses, isn't it? You might have seen very long lenses, very short lenses, 18mm, 50mm lenses and all you might have seen, and some of you might have used it, right? So what you basically do is you are changing your I value, because the focus of the lens is fixed and the object distance is varying, so you have to focus the image clearly. So what you will do is you will adjust your I value by moving the lens back and forth with respect to the image plane, right? Then another term I want to introduce here is depth of field. All right. So depth of field, when focused on an image, the camera can image over a range greater than or within the distance at which an object is focused with acceptable focus. So that range is called depth of field. When you are focusing on a particular point, your camera can image over a range beyond and within that distance, right? Somewhere further and somewhere within that particular distance, still you will have a image with a decent focus, right? Decent clarity, right? So that range is called depth of field, right? So what will be this O value? O is the distance between the lens and the object to be photographed. So what will be that O value in the case of aerial photography? Probably in kilometers, right? Yeah, probably in kilometers, right? So when you're comparing it to this value of I, that's going to be a much larger value, isn't it? So we'll consider it as infinity, right? The object is at an infinite distance, isn't it? So we will consider in aerial photography, object distance is considered to be at infinity. So in that equation, 1 by f is equal to 1 by I plus 1 by O. 1 by O will be roughly equal to 0, right? So what will be the relationship between focal length and I? I will be equal to f, right? And we know that f for a lens is constant. Focal length of a lens is constant. So what you will do is you will have to adjust your image plane at a distance f from the lens. As you can see here, you will keep your image plane at the point capital F, and that will be kept constant in the case of aerial photography, because your O will be equal to infinity and 1 by f will be equal to 1 by I and I will be equal to f. So you will have to fix your distance of the image plane from the lens. So that distance will be equal to f. I will be equal to f in the case of a aerial photography project, right? Next term I want to introduce is exposure. You might have definitely heard of exposure. What is exposure? In simple terms, the amount of light that you capture, yes or no? So image captured with very high exposure value, large exposure, the image will look very white, right? Very bright. Low exposure, the image will be very dark, isn't it? Yes or no? So what parameters contribute to exposure? So exposure is basically irradiance at a point multiplied by exposure time. Alright? So what is this exposure basically? What factors contribute to exposure? You can adjust the diaphragm, you can vary your exposure time, you can adjust your focal length of the lens. All these parameters will contribute to the exposure, isn't it? So there is a small relation. Exposure represented as E is equal to SD square T by 4F square, where S is the screen brightness, that is brightness of the object or the screen that you are trying to capture, the brightness of the screen. Then D is the diameter of diameter of the lens opening is D, right? Then T is the exposure time in seconds, and F is the focal length of the lens, right? Then varying these parameters like shutter speed or lens opening dia, etc., you can vary your scene exposure. Alright, so this exposure, it is measured in meter candle second, MCS, or joules or ergs per centimeter square or millimeter square. Alright, then coming to the next parameter, aperture setting or f-stop. Have you heard of f-stop? When you are buying a camera or even in your mobile camera ads and all, you might have seen f1.8, f2.2, f2.4, etc., right? Do you know what that value means? You can, f-stop is a value which you can adjust the diaphragm for. Okay, you can determine this f-stop value by adjusting the diaphragm. It's a diameter of lens opening D. We saw that the diameter of the lens opening was D, and it is adjusted, it is determined by adjusting the diaphragm to a particular value. Okay, so this f-stop is that value. So f-stop is equal to lens focal length divided by lens opening diameter. That f by d value is called the f-stop. Alright, the focal length of a lens is fixed, so you vary your lens opening diameter. You can vary that opening diameter, right? Lens opening diameter you can vary, diaphragm you can vary. So that ratio, that lens focal length to the lens opening diameter ratio is called the f-stop. So you might have seen, f1.8 camera, f2.2 camera and all, you might have seen. So this, as the f-stop number increases, the diameter of lens opening decreases and the image exposure also decreases. Alright, so you might have seen the values f by 1.4. One is, if 1.4 is your diaphragm setting, so f by 1.4, f by 2, f by 2.8, f by 4, all these are f-stop values. And if the f-stop value is 2, it is written as f by 2. It is represented as f by 2. Alright, if the diaphragm value is 2, it is written as f by 2, and you can say that it is a f2 lens. Right? So f1 by f1.4, f2, f2.2, etc. All these values, they vary as multiples of root 2. Okay. F-stop is equal to focal length by lens opening die f by d. So if you increase your f-stop, your diameter decreases and your image exposure decreases. Alright. And we saw the previous relationship here. So this change in exposure is proportional to root of f-stop. Right? You can see here d square by f square. Right? So change in exposure is directly proportional to the root of f-stop as f by d. Right? Because it is f by d is the f-stop. Here it is d square by f square. So E is proportional to root of f-stop, isn't it? And that and here the time of exposure, that is exposure time, it is represented as sequential multiples of 2, 1 by 125 seconds, 1 by 250 seconds, 1 by 100 seconds, 1 by 500 seconds. You might have seen that variation in setting in your camera pro mode or something like that. If you have in your mobile camera, you might have seen how to vary the exposure time and all, isn't it? S value in seconds. How much seconds is your exposure time? You might have seen that in aerial photography, I mean in astrophotography, when you're trying to capture the stars and all, you will keep your exposure time a larger value, right? 10 seconds or 30 seconds, etc. You will keep your exposure time, isn't it? So that t is your exposure time, and it is expressed as sequential multiples of 2, 1 by 125 seconds, 1 by 250 seconds, etc. All right. So coming back to this exposure, so larger the diameter, larger the diameter of lens opening, larger the d, looking at the expression, larger the d, more light is coming in. So for low light, you will use a small f-stop camera, right? You can correlate and you can think of it. So larger diameter, more light will be captured, and for low light, you should use a camera of smaller f-stop, right? And smaller the diameter, you will have larger f-stop, so you will have a greater depth of field, correct? So the f-stop corresponding to the largest diameter, you will have to know it also you have to control your lens speed for controlling the exposure. So larger the diameter, smaller the f-stop, you can say the faster will be your lens. All right. So E is equal to St by 4f square if capital F is called the f stop, that is f by d. If capital F is equal to f by d, if f stop I am representing as capital F, which is equal to f by d, I can say E is equal to St by 4 capital F square, right? That is the relationship between exposure, screen brightness, diameter of lens opening, exposure time, and focal length of the lens. Clear? So read this in detail in the textbook. Try to correlate the conditions and criteria that I just mentioned. The larger diameter, more light, and for low light you need smaller f-stop, then larger f-stop, lens speed. These things you read further in the textbook and get back to me if you have any further doubts.